What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Just Play Jay, back with another video for you guys. And in today's segment, I'm going to do a short tutorial on how to set up your Yuzu emulator on the Razer Edge. So for those Razer Edge owners out there, you guys are in luck. I know there's been requests for me to do like a short tutorial, like where I get my firmware, which firmware do I currently use, which product keys, all that good stuff. But before I do that, I want to just do a quick disclaimer that I will not be providing any type of games or at least no links of where to get the games and all that stuff as you would see in like other review or videos. But this is just basically for those that do have games for your Yuzu emulator, basically, and they're experiencing like problems with crashing and stuff like that. Then basically I'm just kind of providing a little bit of incentives on how to at least get your games to run properly. Keep in mind though that these games do not, some of these games do not run at 100%. You have the people that actually developed this emulator. They continue to still work on building like nightly versions of the Yuzu emulator. So just keep that in mind for sure. But overall, this is just a tutorial that I'm providing for you guys to just run your games decently, I'll say. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I have my Razer Edge. This is the 5G version. And for those that do have the Wi-Fi version, just bear in mind that there are games that will not run in this fairly well. Or at all, I'm sorry. So games like Cuphead and like Astral Chain and Bayonetta 2 may not run, but you may have like those low indie games like Blasphemous 2 or like Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker, and maybe Double Dragon Gaiden might work on there. I tried running Gunbrella on the Wi-Fi version of the Razer Edge, and it did not do any good for me at all, no matter what I tried. But if you guys were able to get it run, let me know in the comments below. So basically, to get these games started, you do need product keys to actually run this emulator. When you actually download it for the first time, it tells you where your product keys are. So for those that do not know where to get your product keys, I will try to provide a link in the description below. But the one I mainly use is the product key version 16.0.3. They have later ones like 16.1 and like 17.0. I'll let you guys know now that the 16.1.0 version does not work so well. For some reason, it kind of like when I'm starting up my games. At least this is just from my end. When I'm playing the games using those product keys, my games for some reason always tend to crash. You can probably utilize the latest version, I believe, the 17.0.0 version. But anyway, that's what I use for my product keys. And so basically, if you've already done the introductory setup to your, let me pull this up a little closer. If you've already done the introduction, like the basic setup or whatever, you'll have a section where it shows you where to, put your keys. So if you want to actually just update your keys, you go to like this part in the emulator where it says manage Yuzu data, and then you just select that. And then this is the part where it'll show you just to install your product keys. And so when you do that, you would just go in here and then you would just kind of like download it. So I'm just gonna click that download button. I'm not gonna reset it, but I have three different variations of keys. So like I said before, the main one that I use is the version 16.0.3. I'll also mention that the 17 does work, but I would say, at least in my opinion, avoid this version right here, because I tried it and my games, when I try playing the games, they always crash. So for those Razer Edge 5G owners out there, avoid that. Even for the Wi-Fi version, I would highly recommend the 16.0.3. And again, I'm not gonna show you. I don't know if it's safe for me to show you or tell you in this video where to get it, but I'll provide a link in the description below as far as where to get your keys and your firmware. So that's where you download the keys, and then once you do that, you just download it. And then also firmware. So what type of firmware do I use? So basically, I'm gonna go here. You just go to click install firmware, and then I have all of the stuff saved on my SD drive. So basically, the main ones that I use firmware 16.1.0 as my main firmware for a lot of my games that I play. And also, I would say that if you wanted to, you can also use 17.0.0, and it's okay to download both. And I will explain that later on in the video. And I'm gonna kind of show you why, that I use two different firmwares. So there's a game specifically that cannot play without that does not play well with firmware 17.0. But for some reason, it plays well with the version 16.1. So basically, those are the two that I use for my firmwares, and you can kind of switch back and forth if you want to. Yeah, I know it's a lot of work, but that's what you have to do to play the games. At least that's what I do to play my games properly. So I'm gonna just show you an example of what game I play. And one more thing too. That link, it also provides the drivers for your games. So I usually use versions, the Qualcomm 615.5 for the Razer Edge, because the Razer Edge has the Adreno 660 chip. So basically, you want to use a driver that kind of is compatible with that driver. With that chip. So this Qualcomm driver is compatible. And let me just show you a quick overview of what I use. So I use version 615.5, the Vulkan driver, and I use the 615.37, and I use 615.65, and then I use this one as like my little test driver. So it's all version 615. And then also on here I have a few Mesa Turner drivers. So I have one that is the version 23.0.3. That's one of my drivers there. And then I also have these two drivers where it's the 1.3.258. If y'all can see that, I know my camera's not the greatest. And then I also have the Vulkan version 1.3.261. So those three drivers are the main Turner drivers are the ones that I primarily use. And the reason why I have these 6 or 7 drivers is because these are the ones that work best on the Razer Edge Wi-Fi version. And then some games work using only the Qualcomm drivers, and then some games only work using the Mesa Turner drivers. And so let me just give you guys an example of which game that I use for this one. So this is Mario Deluxe. So I'm gonna just kind of do a quick gameplay of that. Turn up the volume a little bit here. So I'm gonna play Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. Okay. Okay, and this is going to run really well because I have, and this is under the firmware 16.1.0. Okay, and so this one's going to play fairly well. Okay, and I already have a game save. And I'll just do a quick playthrough of one, just a quick level. All right, blah blah, it's okay. You can kind of see how clean the graphics are on here. So I'm gonna just replay this first level here, just a quick spell, just to show you how clean it is. And this is under the Vulkan driver version 615.5. Okay. So as you can see, it plays really well. Graphics are clean, crisp. And this game runs with no issues at all. So again, version Qualcomm 615.5 and it's under the firmware 16.1.0. Now, let me try to run this under 17.1. So I'm gonna stop this game, right? And then I'm gonna try and install the firmware 17.0. And then you're gonna see why I wouldn't recommend this to you guys. I mean, why you should just keep it on the 16.1. So I'm gonna install firmware 17.0. And then I'm gonna go back to play the Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe again. Okay. All right. Okay, so look, it runs really well. Okay. Yep. Okay. So, you're able to get to the game, right? And that's pretty much it. Like, you're able to press the L and R buttons to start it off, but you don't have that menu screen where you can select your character. So it stops right after that. And so the reason why I recommend the 16.1.0 is because even though the firmware is updated to the later version of 17.0, your games are not going to be they're not going to be accurate, at least for certain games. So 16.1.0, the firmware is the one I would recommend for anybody that's using the Razer Edge. Yes, you can download the most recent version, which is the 17 version, and some games will run real. But if you're trying to get a little bit more universal with a lot of the games that you want to play, 16.1 is the best one to use for that one. So I just want to show that as a prime example. Now, the difference between utilizing, let's say, utilizing the Qualcomm driver and then the Turner drivers, it depends on how you want to play the game. So we're gonna try to play this new Mario game that came out. So I'm gonna point to it. So I don't want to, just have any type of situation to where it kind of like affects me or affects the channel. So it's this new game out, and right now it's building the shaders. I have it on the version 17.0, and you can see it's going to run fairly well. It's still building the caches and the shaders and all that stuff, and you can see that it runs really, really well. And I'm gonna wait for this bar to actually grow across and everything like that so that it can complete. But I want to explain to you why, or just show comparisons between using the Qualcomm driver and the Turner driver. So let me go ahead and start the game up. And I already have a game saved. Hopefully it doesn't crash on me. Sometimes this game will crash on me because of the shader cache just kind of compiling and stuff like that. But if you have some patience and you just wait for the shaders to kind of to pile up and cache, then you will get a fairly decent experience when you're playing your games. Okay, so right now you can kind of see that Mario is more like a silhouette blue, and this is under the Qualcomm Vulkan driver. So if I use the Turner driver, you're gonna see a full depiction of Mario. I mean, don't get me wrong, the game is still playable if you want to play it like this. So let me see. Hopefully, I should be able to play this game as it is. It might crash on me, so let me just see. Okay. So we shall see. Okay. So as you can see, I mean, you should be able to still, play as Mario. Like the level should be just fine when you're going through this driver. But then, let me go ahead and turn it off. And let's install a turnip driver on here, okay? So I'm gonna install a turnip driver, and it could be any of the ones that I showed in this thing. So, like I said, the 258 one, the 23.0.3 one, which makes it 3D turnip driver, or it could be the one that's the version 1.3.261. And again, with the link that I'm gonna provide in the description below, you should click on that link, and then it has all the drivers that you can utilize for your gameplay experience, and it'll show you which ones to use. Also, there is a GitHub site that shows the recommended drivers for your device. So, but otherwise, there's two. Actually, I can provide two links. But anyway, I'm gonna choose a Turner driver here. So I'm gonna choose version 2.58 or 258, excuse me. And then I'm going to select that Mario game again, and hopefully it loads properly. Because sometimes if I switch things around, it's gonna crash on me. But hopefully it's kind to me while I'm trying to produce this video for you guys. And we'll see. And it varies by game too. So not all games are gonna run perfectly on here, but I know some games will. You know, so it just depends on what games you do choose to play. I could do like a game test for you guys if you want me to run some games. Just let me know in the comments below. And just kind of see which ones do run and which ones don't run. So again, I'm waiting for these shaders to build up so that the game won't crash on me as much. But then I'll show you the difference after it finishes loading. So this is the Turner driver, and I'm still using Firmware 17, which is the latest driver. Again, like I said, the latest firmware will not work for all games, as you saw with Super Mario Deluxe, but it does work with this latest game here. So, all right, I'm gonna start the game up. All right, don't crash on me, don't crash on me. So far, so good. It is you. All right. And now you're gonna notice with this driver that you will see Mario in the menu screen, if it doesn't crash on me. So let's hope that it doesn't crash on me. Okay, so you do see Mario. So there is a difference when you're using these drivers. So if you're using the Vulkan driver, you're gonna see Mario in a silhouette version, whereas if you use a Turner driver, you're gonna get a more polished version of Mario. But like I said, it varies by game, because when you're playing, like for me, I'm a fan of like the Resident Evil games. If you're playing like the Resident Evil games, you have to use the Vulkan drivers to actually get a better experience. Like the Mesa drivers will not work, or the Turner drivers will not work on those Resident Evil games, at least for the Razer Edge. So, I mean, it's more like a hit or miss depending on what game that you're trying to play. So if you choose to play like certain games, you just have to kind of play around with which drivers work best for you. But just for like these Mario games, you kind of saw the difference. Or for this Mario game in particular, you'll see the difference. And then I know, like I said, with the Mario Deluxe game, you see that you have to use a different firmware. Like I said, there's 16.1, which is the one I usually recommend, and then you have the latest version, which is the 17.0 version. So, like I said, it depends on what game you're playing. You can use the latest one, you can use the earlier one. For me, if you want a more user-friendly experience, universal without having to worry about which games they're not going to play or which games are going to play, then I say that the firmware 16.1 is the best one to go with. So hopefully that was helpful enough for you guys to, at least for those Razer Edge owners out there, to kind of pick and choose which ones would work best for their games. So. And granted, this game has crashed me a few times, and it took me a while to kind of figure out which ones work best for me. And again, this emulator is not perfect, but it's good enough to at least play the games decently. So I've been having a lot of fun with it. Yep. All right. I guess that'll do it for my video. This is actually longer than I expected, so hopefully, let me just stop this. Okay, that's enough of that. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you guys. Again, I will provide links in the description below. If you like this video, just give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions that I can answer as far as like Razer Edge setups or whatever for Yuzu or any other emulators, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please be sure to do so. Please support my channel. I'm slowly growing. I've been out for about a year now. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for showing me some love. I appreciate it. Again, if you have any questions, comments, drop it below. All right, till next time. Peace out.